There were a lot of comic and cartoon characters that found their way to the NES. Many of them were contemporary to that time period, and the ones that weren't were usually timeless characters like the Flintstones or Bugs Bunny or Mickey Mouse. But then there's Felix the Cat. Felix the Cat was a character who first appeared in comic strips and short silent films going back to 1919. Was he a well-known enough character to make a video game successful? Particularly in 1992, which was kind of far removed from any Felix the Cat related media? I don't know, but let's check out his video game. The game itself is actually quite good. It was developed and published by Hudson Soft, who definitely know a thing or two about platform games. They were the force behind Adventure Island and the Bonk games. This is all pretty standard fare for a platform game. You have a kidnapped love interest, a mad scientist villain, collecting stuff to gain power-ups and extra lives, a water level, an ice level, springs, pitfalls, boss fights. A whole bunch of your standard video game tropes are present here. Since the 1950s, Felix is known for having a bag of magic tricks, and while you see him carrying his bag around, when you're not powered up, a big spring-loaded boxing glove pops out and that's your primary attack. As you power up, you find Felix as a singer or piloting a number of vehicles depending on the level. You don't have any hit points or an energy meter, so if you're fully powered up and get hit, you power down. And if you're not powered up at all, you'll lose a life. Some of the power-ups are pretty cool looking, especially the hot air balloon, the submarine, and the tank. All the animations for Felix are pretty well done, but a lot of the designs for the other enemy characters are rather generic. Visually, it is still quite appealing, which is no surprise this was a late release for the NES. It's as colorful as any Mario game with a lot of personality and variety to the different stages. There's a cuteness to the game which reminds me a little bit of Kirby, as does some of the changes Felix does for the power-ups. The music is made of a series of very simple loops, and it's probably the weakest point in the game, but there's still quite a few games on the NES with much worse music. So overall, I would say the presentation is quite good. I feel the controls are solid. There's no slipping around like in other platform games. In fact, I sometimes think the controls might be a little too neat. I found myself anticipating a slippery landing when I would jump or stop moving, and it just wasn't there. It took me a little bit of getting used to not having the momentum or the weight that Mario or other platform heroes have, but once you do get used to it, it's tight and responsive. One last thing I can say of note about the game is that it's quite easy. Deceivingly easy, just as long as you don't try to rush things. Just take your time and ease your way on through. Most people should be able to finish the game in about an hour or maybe a little bit more. There are a good number of ways that you can get extra lives by accumulating points, power-ups, Felix tokens, or finding secrets will all net you an extra life, and if you do run out of lives, you get 3 continues to keep you going. Being a later release to the NES, this game does come at a bit of a premium. You'll find a loose cartridge at the time of this recording going for around $70 US. Now, do I think the game's any good? Yes, I do. I quite enjoyed it. But do I think it's $70 good? That I'm not so sure about. I think most gamers would probably be best off giving it a go on their emulator of choice. But now let me ask you guys something. What are your favorite later released games to the NES? And if they are considered valuable games, do you think they're worth the money that they're asking for them? Leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Hope you've enjoyed the review. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Take care.